All right, 7th graders, this is to review the last two questions to help you get ready for your quiz. It says solve 16 equals negative 4x. And I know your teachers on your actual quiz will make you show a check for any extended response. So let me just include that. So if I have to solve 16 equals negative 4x, all I have to do is solve this one-step equation. What's the operation between the negative 4 and the x? The operation between the negative 4 and the x is multiplication. How do I undo multiplication? I undo multiplication with division. So I'll divide the right-hand side by negative 4. You divide by whatever that coefficient of x is to get x all by itself. If I'm going to divide the right-hand side by negative 4, I need to also divide the left-hand side by negative 4. So let's look over here. What's negative 4 divided by negative 4? Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Oh, yay! This is now 1x. What's 1 times x? I can just call that x. On the left-hand side, this is division. What's a positive divided by a negative? Oh, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So x equals negative 4 would be my answer for this. And then I would show a check. To show your check, you always put down the original equation. 16 equals negative 4x. In place of x, I'm going to substitute negative 4. So 16 equals negative 4 times, operation between that 4 and the x is multiplication. And now in place of x, I'll put a negative 4. Please remember to somehow show your teachers you understand this is multiplication. So, because if you just wrote this, that is a subtraction problem. So you don't want to write that. You want to make sure you show that you understand it's multiplication between. What's a negative times a negative? Simplifying this side. What's a negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 4 is 16. Yay! That's exactly what we needed to get. So that's a complete and correct check. This is a complete and correct step-by-step how to solve for x. All right. I think there's one. Oops, sorry about that. There's one more on your test. Number 10, it says Joseph needs help with an algebra assignment. Explain how to solve each of the following problems. How are they different from each other? Okay, so for letter A, we're going to evaluate the expression for x equals negative 8. So we're given an expression, which is x minus 5, and we're going to evaluate for x equals negative 8. That means we're going to substitute negative 8 in place of x. Okay, so instead of an x, we're going to substitute what they tell us x is. They say x is negative 8. So now we have negative 8 minus 5. Negative 8 minus 5. We're just combining like terms. Are those signs the same or are those signs different? Those signs are the same. We'll find the sum. We'll keep the sign. 8 and 5 is 13. What do we have more of? We only have negatives running around. So when we simplify this expression, evaluating it for x is negative 8, we find the value of this expression is a negative 13. For letter B, they actually want us to solve. They give us an equation to solve. X minus 5 equals negative 8. To solve an equation, we want to isolate x all by itself on one side. We have to undo our subtraction with addition. So let's do that. Undo this subtraction with addition to get all constants to one side of the equal sign. Opposite of subtraction is addition. -5 plus 5 on the left side of the equal sign. Whatever I do to the left side of an equal sign, I must also do to the right side of an equal sign. So that equality remains. -5 plus 5. Oh, yay, those zero out. And I get x equals -8 plus 5. Signs are different. I find the difference. 8 minus 5 is 3. What do I have more of? I have 8 negatives, only 5 positives. That means my answer would be x equals -3. For letter B, of course, I'll want to show a check. To show my check, I have, to show my check, I have x minus 5 equals -8. You always put in the original equation. Substitute -3 in place of x. -3 minus 5. I'm hoping when I simplify this side, I get -8. -3 minus 5, signs are the same, both negative. Add and keep the sign. Signs are the same, find the sum, which means add. 3 and 5 is 8. What do I have? The only thing I run around is negatives. -8 does equal -8. So explain how to solve each of the following problems. So to evaluate x is -8, I'll substitute -8 in place of x and then simplify. To solve this problem, I would have to undo addition with subtraction to get x alone on one side of the equal sign. So they wanted me to explain how to solve each of these problems. In symbols, I explained it, but I also put some words down to help. And how they are different from each other. Okay. A and B are different because A, which was x minus 5, is an expression, and B, which was x minus 5 equals -8, is an equation. So we solve them very differently. So we solve A and B differently. And if you want to, then your teacher want you to write it out, you would say, I solved letter A by substituting -8 in place of x, and then simplifying the expression. I solved letter B by solving the equation to get an x alone on one side. And to do that, I had to undo subtraction with addition. You can then go through step by step what you've done. I don't know exactly what your teachers would want for a write-up, so you should check with them on that. But this gives you an idea of what they'll expect. All right, I hope that helps.